Hiya, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts and I hope you're doing okay. Now you may remember a few weeks ago I did a little unboxing of some moulds that Let's Resin had sent me over the last 12 months. It was at the beginning of a different video, but in that set of moulds was the set of snowflake hanging decoration moulds. So I didn't get to use them last year. I didn't get to do a Christmas in July with them, so now is the time for me to use them. I was so excited to try these because the mould actually goes over the back of the Christmas decoration as well as just, it's not a flat mould, and I just thought that was so cool. So what I thought I'd do, as Barbie is quite a hit thing at the moment, I thought I'd do Barbie coloured ones. It's not the sort of colour that you'd usually get on a Christmas decoration, but I can imagine lots of little girls out there would love Barbie coloured Christmas decorations.
So this is the set of 4 moulds that you get in the pack from Let's Resin. They come with holes that are for creating the hangers, and the little pins are attached to the mould that you have to cut out. Now, I did this without getting a cutting mat. I do suggest you get a cutting mat because I very nearly had my finger a few times, which is typical. But they just slice right out, and that gives you the pins to put in the holes so that your moulds will have hanging holes. If you remember last year, Claire didn't find these to start with and she drilled holes through them, which you can do. But typically the first one I got hold of had a flaw in it with no hole to put the little peg through. So I put the little peg through the next one that I had hold of, just so I could show you that it does go in there. And then I came to trying to sort out the one that had a little flaw in it because the centre hadn't quite been cut out in the process. I would imagine these things happen from time to time, and I just cut the little bobble out. It was a little tricky trying to do it in front of the camera so you could see what had happened, but once I'd taken it out, it worked perfectly fine. I did want to keep this in the video, even though I could quite easily have taken it out, because not everything goes according to plan, does it? And it's good to see that other people have little issues as well. The next one I did use a cutting mat, which you should always do. I don't want to put a hole in my silicone mat either, so it's a good job that I got the cutting mat out. And they just slot in the little hole and sit in the bobble at the back. I'm trying to show you. There's a little hole in the back for them to sit into. I'm going to be using Let's Resin Fast Cure resin for this. I have a 10% discount code for Let's Resin that's on the screen. It'll also be in the description box below with an affiliate link. I have the moulds sitting on a nice warm heat mat, and I've put the resin on the heat mat as well because it's extremely cold here. I'm going to be using some glitter from Yvonne at Resin Supplies then, and this one's Neon Dragon Fruits. Absolutely beautifully bright pink. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Barbie is pink all over. This one is Pippa from Resin Supplies Den, and the link for these will be in the description box below. Resin Supplies Den is a little Facebook group here in the UK, extremely friendly, very chatty and always willing to help. And this one is Shannon, again another bright coloured pink. I'm going for pink, can you tell? I'm going to add some orchid from the Let's Resin 36 mica set, and this is a vibrant pink. And I'm trying to keep these things warm. Believe me, it is cold. So any fast cure resin really needs to be kept warm or warmed up prior to you mixing it together. I've got it on the heat mat just to keep it warm because it's cold here. I'm adding a little bit more glitter just to make it more sparkly. This is ultrafine pearlescent, and I'm giving it a good mix around. Honestly, the pinker the better. I've got to get this ultra sparkly and pink because that's what Barbie would really like, I think. Now, I haven't used these moulds before, and they are full of undercuts, and undercuts are not my favourite thing. But these moulds are really quite see-through, and you can see when there's any air stuck underneath them. especially when it's bright pink. I did start by squeezing and squishing the moulds, but I decided that actually that wasn't the right way to go. If there was any air in there, it was going to come out and maybe pop back in again. So I decided that the better way to do it was use a little micro brush. And as I said, you can see when there's an air pocket under there, which is fantastic. Now, although I don't like undercut moulds, I do love the effect that they give. I think it gives a beautiful back and front to a mould. There's 4 moulds to this set and they all seem absolutely gorgeous detailed mould. Each of them got a little micro brush treatment and I actually didn't make enough resin. Not quite. I needed about another 10 ml, which is, again, typical for me because I don't measure anything. It's all guesstimation. So that one got topped up a little bit later. As this is fast cure resin, it was only a couple of hours later that I could top it up and make sure all those little nooks and crannies in the back and underneath had resin. Doesn't this colour just take you back to your childhood when everything was pink and everyone thought you should wear pink because you was a cute little girl? Not me. I was a right tomboy and I didn't want to wear pink. Nowadays, I actually love it. But not in those days. I wanted to wear blue and black. Now this is later the same day. It is only, I think, about 5 or 6 hours after pouring. Because it's been on the heat mat, they have cured rather quickly on top of being fast cure resin. And yeah, it's now my job to figure out how to get these out the moulds. Now I did think that if I loosened up all the sides, it would be easier to get some isopropyl alcohol in there to loosen them up. But the isopropyl alcohol was not going to work. I did find an easier way, but it took me a little effort. This is where I think, hang on a minute, I just need to pull them over the top. So I grabbed the edge and each one got a little tiny pull. These moulds, even though they're really thin, are really strong. And success, I figured it out. It's like pulling off a glove, you know, one finger at a time. That worked really well. And wow, how pink and sparkly are these? Absolutely gorgeous. And the moulds are stunning. And there's a hole where you can put your ribbon. 1 down, 3 to go. The little pegs come out really easily actually. But now I've got the hang of how to deglove these pieces. They're quite easy to demould. I made a bit of a mountain out of a molehill the first time. These moulds are gorgeous. The designs of 4 different snowflakes. You can make 4 at a time. I love that. And the colour is outstanding. They are beautiful and shiny as well. Absolutely gorgeous. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but for a girl that loves Barbie or for anybody that loves pink, honestly, these are stunning. Pink and purple, that's me all over. You can see by my logo, that is me. I'm not a girly girl, but I still love those colours. So I decided to go with another way to colour moulds. Instead of colouring the resin, I decided to put some foil in the moulds. Now, this is a little tricky in this type of mould because of the undercuts. But I felt a little bit like a bird feeding its chick. If you see what I mean. I had the foil in my tweezers and I was shoving it in the hole as best I could. I didn't know that there was going to be gaps in there, but I came up with a solution to prevent there being patches. And you'll see that a bit later. I'm not going to lie, this did take a while, but I actually really enjoyed this. I usually do this sort of thing late at night where I've been at work all day and I come home and I just want to craft. So this is quite therapeutic to me, this kind of thing. But I'm not going to put you through the whole lot. Once I thought I had enough flakes of this colour in the mould, I got a soft makeup brush and I used it to push it onto the mould so that it would stay. At this point you can see that there are plenty of holes without foil, but that's okay, we're going to do more to it. Look how shiny that is. This foil is glass-like. or mirror-like. It is beautiful. I did all 4 moulds the same. Some had more foil than the others. Once I'd done the pink, then it was time to get out the lilac. Now this is a pinky purple and it is absolutely stunning. And put that in the centre and fill up a lot of the gaps. It won't fill up all of the gaps, but a lot of the gaps. And this was basically push it in and pat it down because it was the front part of the mould. And as I show you the back here, you can see where there's places in the top points that don't have any film at all. This one, however, was definitely easier to colour. So this is my cunning plan. I'm going to use Champagne by Let's Resin, and it's a chameleon pink gold colour, and I thought it would be great to push that into the little points that will seal up the holes that haven't got any foil in. That way, when I pour black in behind, it will theoretically not show through at all. It will just push those colours out. So that's what I did. I was very generous by shoving the mica powder in there, and I filled every gap I could possibly find. Now with any chameleon colour, it's best to have black behind it. I'm going to use Vista black pigment. It's a solid black pigment and it's my go-to. You need very little of it in resin to make it a solid black colour. I am aware that it may change the colour of the foil a little, but the chameleon powder needs it for the colour to be pushed out. And I'm just filling up these moulds to the top with the black, making sure I use my micro brush to get rid of any of those stuck little bubbles in the points, and I've just about made enough. Again, they're on the heat mat. Heat mats are definitely the way to go in this weather, in my opinion. Not only will it help you to cure your resin faster, but it will also keep them from getting blush if your resin is prone to that. Mind you, I've never had any problems with blush from Let's Resin. They all get a good squirt of isopropyl alcohol and then left to cure. So finally, later that day, I can demould. And again, I'm degloving these because I figured out that's the easiest way to demould them. Just pop them up over the fingers and out they come. And they are stunning. They are mottled 2-colour pink and lilac, and there's no gaps because that chameleon powder filled in all those little tiny gaps, and you wouldn't even know that that was a different colour. I think they've come out absolutely beautifully. Now you can buff up this foil. If you have, I think it's 0 wire wool, you can buff it up to make it even shinier, but I don't have any. So I'm afraid you're not going to get that from me. But I still absolutely love them. I still think they're shiny enough and beautiful enough to go on the tree. What do you think? Do you like the solid pink? Or do you like the first translucent pink? Or do you not like pink at all? There are some people that don't like pink, and I totally get that. But I think they've come out absolutely beautiful. I love these moulds. I really do. A couple of times the little pegs didn't quite go right the way through, so I did have to put a drill through one of them, I think, and a blade through another to make the hole. But other than that, they came out beautiful. Thanks again to Let's Resin for sending me these moulds to use. I know it's taken a year for me to do it, but I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. But before I go, I'm just going to show you one more thing. I've been asked by a few people how I put the ribbon through the holes, as it looks quite professional, but it's actually really easy. I use a piece of wire, and if the hole is really small, I use a pair of pliers or bent nose pair of pliers to pull the wire through the hole. The ribbon goes with it and it folds over the top. It's a little bit like a needle threader. Once it's pulled tight, you can tie the end and there's your loop. Well, I hope all you Barbie fans out there really enjoyed this because I absolutely loved making them. They're definitely pink. They're definitely sparkly and bright, and yeah, that's what I was going for. Anyway, come back and see me next week because you never know what I'm going to be up to. I never know what I'm going to be up to. Have a great week. Happy crafting, and bye for now.